What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video, and I'm super excited. I haven't done this a lot on the channel. I'm going to be doing a lot more in the offseason, obviously, with a lot of potential free agents we could be bringing in, draft prospects, so on and so forth. But I thought it was important to kind of go over Daniel Jones last week. Daniel Jones, I thought it might have been his best performance of the year. If not, it was definitely up there when you factor everything in, the defense they were going up against, the fact that he didn't get much help from the offensive line. And I kind of wanted to dive into his pocket awareness, some of the throws that he was able to make, some of the play calling from Garrett, and really dive into the film. And Alex and Anthony were kind enough to reach out to me. They got a great channel over there on Fireside Giants. We're going to alternate every week, or we're going to try to do it every week throughout the offseason, talking over current Giants, potential future Giants, and free agency in the draft. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. What's going on, guys?
Nothing much, man. We're really excited to be, part of this new little film series that we're going to do with you, alternate every week. And like Chris said, we're going to be doing all the draft prospects, or as many as we can possibly fit into the offseason. We're doing free agents, everybody from Allen Robinson to Kenny Golladay to Corey Davis to everybody that we want to see in blue or, potentially could see. So this is going to be really good for us to look into, who might fit into this Giants scheme, especially if Jason Garrett stays or if he leaves. Who fits the molds here. So that's going to be really important for us. And, I'm really excited to just be paired up with you because, you have the best YouTube community and some really amazing followers and people just supporting you. So we're very honored to be a part of that.
Nah, I appreciate you guys coming on. Both you guys do a great job. I've worked with you guys before. Anthony, what's going on, my man?
Not much, man. I'm excited to, break down some film, probably get harassed by your comment section again, but it's all good fun, so I'll enjoy it. But, I love watching film, especially on the Giants. It's fun to do. It's very interesting, and I'm excited to do this, hopefully weekly. It'll be a good time.
Let's rock and roll. Let's jump into it.
All right, so the first play we'll look at is this touchdown to Sterling Shepard. He's at the top of the screen, left side of the formation. Little goal line action. Sterling Shepard is really an excellent red zone threat. Alex and I have been, banging the table about this. We don't think that he's been used enough in the red zone this season. He hasn't gotten enough targets down there. But then again, the Giants haven't been in the red zone very much this year at all, thanks to this putrid offense that we put on the field week to week. But this is a really nice play call. I'm a big fan of it, and I guess we'll let it roll, and then we'll break it down. If you look at the drawing, so basically you're going to see Darius Slayton on the bottom is going to run that fade route, and then Austin Mack is going to run straight to the flat, and that's going to try and, distract the defense, really, because this whole play is just designed about getting that single coverage for Sterling Shepard on the left side, and he's just going to run a man-beating route, a little whip route. He's going to go in and then go out. So basically now what you're seeing on the screen, this is the defensive coverage. So basically they played like some variation of cover two man. They just manned up across the board and had two safeties roaming in the back of the end zone. And then Patrick Queen, the linebacker, is playing a quarterback spy. So he's kind of just waiting on Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones scrambles, he's going to get him. But he's also kind of guarding the running back at the same time, just kind of guarding the whole backfield in general. And then they also bring an extra blitzer off the edge. So that's the coverage there. And then you're going to see how this man coverage across the board really opens things up to just put Sterling Shepard on an island and let him go to work in this one-on-one coverage.
Yeah, all right, let's check it out.
Fourth quarter, we're down by a lot, as usual. So I like this from Shepard. He fights through that coverage.
Really nice route there by Shepard. A good job by Jones to lead him there in the left corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can see Deion Lewis, too, in the backfield. He's about a half a step in front of DJ, so you can kind of assume this is going to be a passing play. And he basically is just blocking here, trying to give DJ some time.
One of the few times we had good blocking in this game.
True.
Very few.
Yeah, you can see it's a clean pocket, and Jones does a good job. He's just being patient. He knows it's single coverage, and he knows that this is going to get open eventually because it's Sterling Shepard. So he's just waiting, and then as soon as he breaks open, he fires an accurate pass right to the pylon, which is exactly where the ball needs to be.
Yep, and like I've been harping on this. Sterling Shepard is one of the best red zone receivers in the NFL, and I truly believe that. And we saw that right there. He fights through coverage on a whip route, and look at him. He's like, finally, I have the football in my hands in the end zone. Jason Garrett, thank you for this gift that you gifted me just for Christmas. Why on earth is this not happening more often? If anything, and let me actually date this back to the Cleveland game. We're being uber aggressive. We're trying to score on fourth down. Instead of throwing from our punter, Riley Dixon, to our center, Nick Gates, why not throw a throw like this to Sterling Shepard in man coverage? This is what I'm talking about in terms of malpractice. make decisions and throw it to your best players in the red zone. Don't have your punter throwing it to your center.
I think that was more. I'm assuming that was more in Judge than Garrett being, the special teams decision.
Right.
That play call in that game, that was probably the worst decision Judge has made all year. I
Yes.
never understood that at all. I honestly don't even understand going for it on 4th and 5 at all. I get that you want to be aggressive. The 4th and 2 I'm completely on board with. But if you're gonna go for it for 4th and goal from the 5, I'd rather Daniel Jones throw it, or at least line up for a fake field goal, rather than come out and basically just line up Dixon as the quarterback out of the shotgun. That never made any sense.
See, it's so funny because Alex and I got in like this huge argument about this the other day because I'm the only, maybe the only person in the world that actually kind of liked that play call because I just think it was so poorly executed. Like Riley Dixon was a quarterback in college or something.
No, I know that.
He knows how to play the position, but instead he just throws this jump ball to Nick Gates with 3 people on him when nobody guarded Graham Gano. And then Alex,
but your punter going to your kicker.
I was going to say,
he's wide open, man.
But I was going to say that's the problem. Like when you ask your punter, who hasn't probably thrown football, he's not going to go to his second read. He's going to go to the design.
Exactly.
I get it. I get it. But if he did go to his second read, it's a walk-in touchdown. And this is something I don't know if people talk about. If it's to his third read, there was a screen on the left side. It was an easy walk-in touchdown as well. There was 2 touchdowns on the field. Like it was a good play call.
Anthony.
I mean,
Daniel Jones can't even get to his third read. Daniel Jones can't even get to his third read. Why on earth would Riley Dixon be able to get to his third read? Come on.
Well, I guess my criticism with it is I don't know why Nick Gates was the first read there. The screen on the left side should have been because that was easy touchdown, But I digress. Let's just focus on this film.
No, but I do like Sterling Shepard's here. Before I move on to the next play, I just want to reiterate that his ability, he fights through this coverage here because it's still within 5 yards, so it is pretty much bump and run, and he gets jammed right here at the line of scrimmage on this turn, but he fights through it. He actually does a really good job with his hands. He pushes that cornerback, just puts him off balance, just a step. That's all he needs. And bam, DJ hits him. So a really, really great route here by Sterling Shepard. This is why I want to see him more. If you're going to use man coverage against the Giants, target guys like Sterling Shepard who can do this in the red zone. The Giants get into the red zone very, very sparsely, but when they do, Sterling Shepard should be the first guy DJ's looking at every play.
Yeah, it was a great route by Shepard. It really was.
Absolutely. He sold the slant and then just broke it outside, which is exactly what you want to do.
Yep. Exactly. Good protection. Really good. Bam.
And
now we get to see the horrible offensive line play coming up.
That'll be later on, I think. Oh, this one. Okay, so this one, Jones is going to get whacked here, but it's kind of by design, right? So this is a cover 0 blitz. I drew it out, but I forgot to send it to Alex, so that's on me. But basically, you're going to see those. I think someone off of the edge, I think that number 32, that corner is going to blitz, and then one of those linebackers in the middle is also going to blitz, and then one of them is going to take Gallman in man coverage. But it's cover 0, meaning there's no safety deep, there's no zone coverage anywhere on the field. It's just all man coverage and a blitz. So basically, Daniel Jones knows he doesn't have enough blockers on the field to pick up everybody. They're blitzing 6, and we only have 5 offensive linemen. So he knows he's going to get hit. He just has to get the ball out quickly. And he does here on this play. They have all these receivers really going vertical. And Slayton does a good job out of the slot on the slot fade. Does a really good job actually beating the cornerback off the line of scrimmage and getting wide open down the field. He just drops the pass, which has become way too much of a common theme for Darius Slayton. But he does a great job on the route. And I really like this throw by Daniel Jones. He knows he's going to get hit. He knows he doesn't have enough blockers to pick up his blitz, but he still is able to catch the ball after the snap and just throw an accurate, kind of perfect pass downfield before the defense can get to him.
This is one thing I noticed the entire game from the Baltimore Ravens defense. They ran a lot of cover 0. They sent the house whenever they could. And to me, it was because they knew the wide receivers aren't going to create a lot of separation, and they knew that their corners could play a man up. And when I was watching the game, I was saying to myself, this is the type of defense I think the New York Giants want to have. They want to be able to have the ability to have really good, strong corner play and be ultra aggressive. It's why I've been very outspoken about them adding a cornerback. But they did this throughout the entirety of the game, the Baltimore Ravens defense.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. They had backup cornerbacks, mind you, too. They didn't have some of their better guys in the game, Marcus Peters and Jimmy Smith. So that's a big thing to harp on. They played a lot of cover 1 and cover 0, like you mentioned, and you'll see a lot of cover 1 throughout the film when you're watching this. And like you said, they felt pretty confident manning up across the board. Look at them. They're pretty much jamming every receiver here. That's their goal. Jamming them and just trying to throw them off their route because they don't have any respect for the Giants receivers, and they shouldn't because they don't do enough. The Giants receivers don't do enough to get open. They don't do enough in man coverage. And Daniel Jones almost gets Nick Gates in his lap right off the bat. The interior of that Ravens line just pushes. And Shane Lemieux, man, he's been terrible in pass protection. Look at him. He's almost right in his lap. You know, Daniel Jones is running away when he throws this ball.
Yeah, and he's fading away, and it's kind of one of those things where, like, you watch Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not comparing them as players, but I'm saying Aaron Rodgers does that often. He'll know that the blitz is coming, and he'll just start to backpedal and drift, and then he'll just lay out a nice touch pass, and that's exactly what Daniel Jones does here. So it kind of reminded me of that Aaron Rodgers technique, where he's just kind of drifting and, you know, he just kind of lobs it up there. And it's a perfect pass. And the irony of this, what makes this so funny to me is you're completely right, Chris. They did a lot of cover zero because they know that the receivers don't get any separation. But the one time that they do, they drop the pass. So it's beautiful irony for the Ravens defense.
Yeah,
Exactly.
this might have been the most disappointing play of the game for me because if Slayton catches that ball, you start to get some momentum. And this was a big drop by Darius Slayton, a fantastic throw by Daniel Jones, all things considered. You're talking about having a second and a half. He completely led the receiver. Like you said, Nick Gates allowed the defender to get right in his lap, and it was great touch. You know, and that's one thing. A lot of people, when they talk about Daniel Jones, they'll say he doesn't have elite arm strength, which I agree with. But in terms of his down the field accuracy and his touch, for the most part, outside of the Bucs game, he's well above average in the league, and you saw it on display.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's exactly right. I mean, look at this ball. It's in Slayton's hands. If you're a receiver in the NFL, you have to catch this 10 out of 10 times. I don't care, you know, what it is, but if you're starting on an NFL roster, this is a catch you need to make. And like you said, Anthony, he threw this away from coverage. It was a perfect throw. Slayton, and when you take shots like this, because they played a lot of cover one, cover zero, and basically they did that because they know the Giants offense, the only thing they have going for them is their run game. So as long as they can play cover one, cover zero, and stop the run, they don't respect the receivers or Daniel Jones or the play caller enough to actually get it done in man coverage. So this is what we're seeing. This is a result of that. They're playing cover one and beating us on passing plays, which is a really bad sign and something that screams to me, if Daniel Jones doesn't get a wide receiver one or somebody to help him, and you're going to see Dante Pettis a little bit later on make a really, really spectacular play, I think he should be starting this next week over somebody. This is something we're going to see reoccurring if they don't address this position. And, maybe even Jason Garrett needs to go because the route concepts are so basic. This is the first game all season I've seen them push receivers downfield and run verticals a lot more. And it opened up the field a ton. They just missed a lot of throws, a lot of catches. Like right here, you're going to see, right through his hands. You can't drop that.
Yeah. Well, they were down by 3 touchdowns, so of course they're going to start pushing the ball downfield. I would like them to do it earlier in the game when they're not behind. But I'll say 2 more things about this. One thing is Daniel Jones throws him open here, kind of, which is really, that's something that you want to see from your quarterback is the ability to throw a receiver open downfield on a back shoulder fade. And then the other thing I'll say is if this is a guy like Allen Robinson or Kenny Golladay, Allen Robinson is actually the guy that I think of on a route like this, on a throw like this. He catches us 10 out of 10 times. This is a catch for a wide receiver 1. A wide receiver 2 might struggle. This reminds me of Eli Manning to Ruben Randall, right?
Yeah.
Ruben Randall would this is exactly that. And it's, it's disappointing that we haven't seen Slayton take that next step this year. But, I don't know, looking ahead to the future, once we get that wide receiver 1, plays like this will be more frequent in the playbook, I hope, and they'll be a lot more effective and successful.
That ball's out at 50. He's at the 50 when that ball's out of his hand. He did a good job putting that where it needed to be.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Really nice play. Jones played great in this game.
I agree.
Second half was great for him, in my opinion.
He didn't get a lot of help, but he played really well, all things considered.
There's the other angle?
Yeah, we're just going to run through it one last time, and then we'll go on to the third clip. But it was a great throw. Look at that touch, man. That's Russell Wilson basket Dawson, man. It's like Easter
I can't believe he dropped that. All right, so this is cover. This is the one where I couldn't figure out the coverage. This is 4 verticals by the Giants offense out of the empty backfield. So everybody's just going downfield, but you're going to see the outside receivers. This is something that Alex noticed. He thought they were running comeback routes, but I explained to him that on 4 verticals, those outside receivers are running go routes, but if they don't get open, they come back to the ball because they're not going to get open deep. So they just turn around and they make it a comeback route. That's by design. So you're going to see that by those outside receivers. And basically one takeaway you can have from that is that our receivers aren't separating on vertical routes. They're not getting open. They're not winning off of the line of scrimmage. But this is some variation of cover 3. I couldn't tell if it was cover 3, cover 6, because they're trying to disguise it at the beginning. It kind of looks like a cover 2. And I don't know. It was just a wonky coverage. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly the coverage that they're running here. But basically, it's a variation of cover 3 because that seam comes wide open, and that's when he hits Dante Pettis, runs a really good route, makes a really nice catch in traffic here. It's a very fast throw. It's a high velocity ball. It's bulleted right in the window. It's a tight window, and he makes the throw. So good stuff by Daniel Jones there.
That's a great throw by Daniel Jones to get that ball before the safety could come over and help. Clean
Beautiful.
pocket too for something we didn't see a lot. Clean pocket, something we didn't see a lot throughout this game.
Yeah, I like Pettis, man. I like his energy too.
He looks fast, man. He looks spry.
And I'll tell you what, man. Fleming, I think he's got to start next week based on what we're going to see in the film in a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right.
And that was Fleming on that play that pushed him to the outside.
Yeah, it was good pass protection there. And you'll see if you rewind this, Alex, you'll see with this this coverage that they're running, they do have some guy roaming in the middle of the field. And what Evan Engram does here, because this is 4 verticals, so everybody can just go up the seam, but Evan Engram being in the slot there has the ability, it's kind of like an option route, right? He can go straight down the seam, or he can cut it across the middle and pull that safety out of the way. And that's really what opens up Dante Pettis down the seam, because Engram kind of just gets out of his way and pulls a defender out of the spot.
Right. And I like to see them pushing the receivers downfield. This is what you see, by the way. When you run these vertical routes, you find gaps in zone coverage. This is something that we see Jason Garrett do a very few of, and oftentimes we'll see these 5-yard hitches across the board, or like, the 2 outside or 2 slot guys go to the flats and hitches. It's just a disaster, man. I'm tired of seeing it, man. It's 2nd and 17 here, and oftentimes we'll see him run these little short route concepts, push the guys downfield, open up some zones. This is perfect from Dante Pettis right up the seam. It's really nice. This is a great throw too. DJ can make the throws. Then this is the point of this video, is to show that Daniel Jones can make these throws.
Yeah, it was listen, if you could protect for him like they do here,
it's gorgeous.
He could fit the ball into a tight window.
Absolutely. And I hate to keep bagging on Darius Slayton here, but, Slayton was supposed to be a deep threat when he came to this team. And this was kind of what Darius Slayton was supposed to succeed on. When he's got that one-on-one coverage outside, press coverage, he's supposed to be our speed guy who can just run downfield and get open. And he just hasn't been doing it. You see, he just has terrible release off the line, and he has to just turn around to make it a comeback route. But this is where you would want to see your receiver with a lot of speed just run right by that defender and get open deep, because this is the exact coverage that you want about that. Yeah, maybe he's injured. Maybe he's hobbled. I don't know. It's just, I hate to keep bagging on him, but I'm just disappointed in the way he's played this year.
I want to see if he's even a read here. It looks like DJ's looking to the middle of the field that whole time. It looks like Pettis is the read there.
He might have been trying to look off the coverage, but it looked like he was looking left. He came back right.
Right. So what he was doing is he was looking at Evan Engram, because Engram was trying to pull that player away, like I was mentioning earlier, and then he knows that the seam is open, so he just turns and fires. As soon as he sees Engram start to break left, he knows that Pettis is open. This was cover 3, so yeah, Slayton is like the 4th read here, but if nothing got open on the right side, he should be able to bomb it to Slayton, because Slayton's supposed to run behind the coverage. But I don't know, his speed, his release off the line, he's just not able to do it. So he's just got to run a comeback on 4 verticals when you really want to push the ball downfield.
Yep.
And every time, I remember when I watched this play during the game, I thought it was Odell Beckham that made the catch.
OBJ.
It does look like him, right? It does look a lot like him in terms of his build.
And they have similar style and energy on the field,
Yeah.
Yeah. So here, Giants are down by 17 here. 9 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, 1st and 10. Single high for Baltimore. You're going to see Austin Mack at the bottom of your screen. He's going on a fade route. You're going to see tight end. He's running a crosser. Evan Engram, he's actually, he's in the down stance. You're going to see Shepard on the opposite side in the slot there. And then you have CJ Board running a go route. And I just want to see. I really here is it's important to see the coverage because they're running cover one, or really it's cover two. But it's a great throw to Wayne Gallman. And this is one that I wanted to harp on DJ specifically because DJ should get this ball out a little bit more. And this is something that Anthony and I noticed in, reviewing the film yesterday, is that he does a very, very slight thing that throws his timing off and allows defenders to get to him a little bit, sooner than he would. Should get the ball out a little bit sooner. You'll see it in the slow motion portion of this video. But this is something that I want Jason Garrett to do more of. I want him to use his running backs as receivers, get these guys up the seam, get these guys in actually running routes and these Texas routes, arrow routes, do something with the running backs that's so predictable. And this is the first time I think the Ravens were like, oh crap, they actually used Gallman. They actually used a wide receiver on a route. Haven't seen that all season long. So this is a play that I really like to see Jason Garrett pull out of his hat and utilize for once. And, I like here because I think that cornerback on Sterling Shepard in the slot is in man coverage, but that motion forces him to make a decision. And it really opens up the middle of the field because now they're trying to figure out, who, by putting him in motion, they have to figure out, who's on him. Where does the man coverage go? Where does that shift to? And it opens up Gallman perfectly up that seam. And if this ball's out, if this hits him right now, look at the space in front of him. Look at the greenery. He's going upfield. He could take
He's getting at least another 10 yards on that route if he leads him. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is a play that's in the playbook for Saquon. Like we saw him score on this against Washington last year when Jones threw 5 touchdowns and was that week 16, I think, right? So this is a play in the playbook for Saquon, but Gallman can run it too. But yeah, once we look at the second camera angle, like Alex mentioned, you'll see something that kind of slows this whole thing down.
Exactly. And this is something that a lot of young quarterbacks deal with this. Anthony calls it burping the baby. And you'll see that, the guy that comes in to hit him right now, you're going to see, I put it in slow motion. Number 40's coming around, 48's coming around here. This ball should be out right now when Gallman turns his head. This ball should be leaving DJ's hand right now. But instead, he does this little thing. He taps the ball. You'll see it very slight. I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. He's looking now. He taps the ball right there. The ball right there. And that ball, if you get rid of that tap, and you throw this ball without any hesitation and you hit Gallman in stride, this could be a touchdown. Football is a game of inches. You cannot be giving away yards like this. Those little tiny things. And I watched Brady. I watched Aaron Rodgers to make sure that they don't do these things. Aaron Rodgers doesn't do this. Brady does it, but it's so quick. It's so quick and he can get away with it. It's okay for him to do because he's arguably the best quarterback of all time. And it's so fast that it doesn't disrupt his rhythm, and he has such good pocket awareness. It doesn't matter, but DJ does not have that good of pocket awareness, so he needs to get this ball out. He can't be wasting precious milliseconds because that little tiny millisecond is the difference between him getting this ball out on time to Gallman and getting potentially a touchdown, and this guy putting pressure on him and forcing this throw behind Gallman, which ends up becoming just, he stops dead right here because he has to adjust his body, and he can't catch this in stride.
It's a great pickup by you guys, and the now on the play here, it looked like it, and this is kind of what confused them the entire game. It's another stunt. It looked like they blitzed. I think it was the linebacker that got free here, right? Number 48.
Patrick Queen. Yeah, that's Patrick Queen. And I'll also throw out there that Patrick Queen is very fast. He's that athletic linebacker out of LSU that a lot of Giants fans wanted in the draft. He's very quick, and he can scream through a hole like that. He'll come through really fast.
One thing that I noticed in this game that I really thought the Giants were missing was Penny. I thought they could have used a better blocker in the backfield, even though they don't use him as much as I'd like. But he was out for this game; they didn't have a fullback, and I felt like that had something to do with why they were getting as much pressure as they were as well. Yeah,
100% right. Especially their run game. Their run game really was not effective at all, and it's because you don't have a guy like Penny to open up those blocks, open up those running lanes. That a guy like Gallman, who's a north and south runner, you want a guy like Penny if you're a north and south runner to open up those blocks, seal those gaps, and then that's where you explode through. That's what you take advantage of. Not having that fullback, especially one as good as Penny, huge con for a guy like Gallman in the running game, especially when you're running in between the tackles.
Yeah, but either way, this still. I mean, like you said, he's got to get rid of the burping of the baby. But either way, this is a really good throw by Daniel Jones. When you factor in that he's got a guy breathing down his neck, and he's still able to get it in the vicinity of Gallman. And Gallman does a great job here adjusting to the ball. You got to give him credit for this as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because that Patrick Queen is so fast. I just don't think Daniel Jones feels him coming just yet. I think you can see it right here because right about here he starts to brace for impact, and he turns his body a little bit, and it throws that ball it's just a little bit off because of it. He's just bracing him for impact there. He's turning his body, and that's why the throw is off. That's why I think it needs to be out a little bit faster. That's the whole timing thing, though. That makes me think that maybe his receivers and maybe his running backs on these plays, they don't have good timing, which maybe means they haven't practiced this play enough. Maybe Jason Garrett isn't harping on the timing. I don't really see many timing routes at all when it comes to Daniel Jones and his wide receivers. We saw it with Eli Manning and Sterling Shepard. Like in years past, we saw it with so many guys, Victor Cruz, OBJ. They were all timing routes, and when it comes to DJ, I don't see any timing routes when it comes to back shoulder phase or anything like that. So that's kind of my big issue is I just don't think there's anything. It just feels like there's a lack of chemistry with a lot of these players.
Great play, though, by God. That was a really good play by Gallman.
Fantastic catch.
Yeah.
For a guy who doesn't catch footballs that often.
Yeah. And now this is Murderer's Row, 3 straight sacks.
No, this one. Okay, so that's the next one, but this another cover one situation, right?
Murderer's Row.
Before Chris, but Murderer's Row. We're gonna get there. It's basically the gulag in Call of Duty. So basically, on this play specifically, you're gonna see cover one man, and this is my favorite play of the game. This is Chris's favorite play of the game. This is Anthony's favorite play of the game. This is Daniel Jones's favorite play of the game because he rolls out here. He feels the pocket starting to collapse. He rolls out to the left side, and Dante Pettis, being the only guy who seems to want to actually try, runs a second route here while everybody stands completely still. And I'm going to point that out. But this is just a fantastic play by Daniel Jones. He rolls out here and he slings this. But what I want to show you is look at this. Watch Dante Pettis hitch. Watch. Of course, you have Evan Ingram. You have Evan Ingram and Dante Pettis both running hitch routes. Thank you so much, Jason Garrett, for that. Basically useless. I don't understand this entire concept at all. But here we go. Dante Pettis. He's like, oh, DJ's scrambling. I'm going to run a second route. Now, look how many people are standing still. Sterling Shepard's jogging. The other side of the field is not even trying to come across the middle and provide any sort. When you see guys like mobile quarterbacks like Kyler Murray, like Russell Wilson, like Lamar Jackson, they'll spin it around. They'll find ways to buy time in the pocket, and guys will keep running. Guys will push it downfield. Those are a lot of those big plays. That's where they come from. Those second routes, just that extra effort. And you see this side of the field, they're walking. They have no care for this play. And then you see Sterling Shepard, who basically just takes himself out of this play. He just starts walking there. This ball's not even out yet. Sterling Shepard's walking. Evan Ingram, he's doing something at least. Dante Pettis rolls out and actually helps his quarterback out. And DJ slings this ball, and talk about arm angle. A lot of people are harping on Zach Wilson and these really elite prospects, and they're like arm angle. He throws it like a shortstop in baseball. This is what Daniel Jones here. Look, just watch how great of a throw this is, and things like this, plays like this, make me remain faithful and hopeful that DJ can be our guy.
Yeah, he's rolling left.
Oh, yeah.
He's going against his body. It's
Tap
a very
again, by the way.
really
Burp
difficult.
the baby
throw.
again. Burp the baby again.
He did.
Every play, you'll see, every play does it.
Yeah, but the other thing, I don't know if you mentioned, Alex, when it first started. I think you told me before we started filming this. He also caught them with 12 men on the field on this play.
Yep, that's 100% right. I'll bring it back. You'll see right off the bat, DJ has really good awareness here because if you see on the right side of the offensive line, there's a guy jogging. You'll see it right now. He's jogging off the field. That's the 12th man. So DJ gets this snap off, and he knows this is a free play for us, basically. Too many guys on the field. We're going to take this. I don't even remember the refs actually calling a flag on this play. I'm sure they did, but this is just good recognition by DJ to make a play. They probably didn't call a flag because that's just how we get treated.
Or maybe it was
close.
Maybe it was 11 and the guy just didn't know. Maybe it was 11. Is it possible? And the guy just didn't know.
We can count it.
No, that's 12.
3, 4,
1,
5,
2,
6,
3,
7,
4.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
12.
Yeah,
Okay.
12. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just got screwed.
Okay. Here's my thing, though, is like Alex pointed out that there was a couple guys just standing around. Like, did they not realize that there's a man still, who's the bottom receiver? I think it's Slayton. There's somebody running, jogging in front of him as he's getting off the field. Like, he doesn't realize, oh, this is a free play. I might as well just go to the end zone or do something. Like, they all just kind of stand around, but they should know that this is a free play, that this is like an opportunity to take a shot. And even if you have an interception or a fumble, you get the ball back anyway. So I don't know why they all just stand around and don't really do anything. But
it's lack of awareness. It's lack of awareness.
Right. Yeah. Regardless, my main takeaway from this play, though, is that, Dante Pettis is coming from a different team, right? This is his first time really playing with the Giants. He's coming from the San Francisco 49ers, who have Kyle Shanahan, who's arguably the best offensive coach in the NFL. And one thing that we're seeing here is Dante Pettis has the awareness to run the scramble drill, which we do see from the Kyle Shanahan offense. So I think that what you see here is kind of a difference in coaching philosophy and really just overall how good of a coach you have, because this guy was coached by Kyle Shanahan. So he has the awareness here to start doing this scramble drill and run a second route and get open and makes a nice play here. But none of these other Giants receivers all year, we haven't seen them do that. So I think that's a Kyle Shanahan thing. And then also, I hate to keep making this comparison, but this is another Aaron Rodgers-like throw. This throw, again, reminded me of Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what it is. Yeah, Daniel Jones every now and then throws a pass that just reminds me of Aaron Rodgers. And I'm not saying they're the same player, not even in the same stratosphere, but this is just a play that reminds me of Aaron Rodgers, where he's rolling to his left and he just kind of slings it and it keeps fading to his left, because that's what Rodgers do.
Look at the arm angle here.
Yeah, no, actually, the Derek Jeter comparison is perfect. It does look like a three-quarters throw like he used to throw at shortstop. I hope he's half of what Aaron Rodgers is, but yeah, I agree on this play. This is a terrific play by Daniel Jones, but maybe one of his top 3 or 4 throws of the entire year. Like, this was a great throw. And again, give credit to Pettis. He did really well in both these plays.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. There's 2 things I want to harp on here. Is one, DJ rolling out to his left side. That's his worst place to go. He is terrible when he rolls out to his left side. So it's really, really, really enjoyable to see him make a throw like this, rolling out to his left side across his body. And then Dante Pettis, man, like he has no chemistry. He has no chemistry with Daniel Jones, but he looks like he has more chemistry with Daniel Jones than any other receiver on this team right now. And he's been here for like 6 weeks, and this is his first time playing. That is insane to me. That is insane.
One play I remember, you brought up rolling out to the left side. One play I remember earlier in the year, first game of the season, Steelers. It's when he threw the pick when he was rolling out to the left side, where I think he got hit by Watt, or I can't remember who hit him on the play. Maybe
Dupree.
It was Dupree. But it was very similar type of throw, but he got hit as he was throwing it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
He waited too long. This time he had the anticipation, he had the knowledge and awareness to just make the throw. Like, take the shot. Don't wait too long for a guy to get too close to you. That's what we're seeing. That's the growth in DJ, is just committing to it, being aggressive. Like, don't wait for guys to get you to you. Don't wait too long. Throw it away if you have to. Be safe with the football. But also, when your receivers are giving you opportunities like that, it's really nice to see. It's really nice to see that your receivers are actually helping out the quarterback instead of just jogging around, not moving, walking off the field by the time the play is not even over yet. It's really, that's the big thing for me. They need to go out and get guys who actually want to run routes, because we're getting beaten man coverage. And the only guy that seems to be able to do anything is Sterling Shepard, and now Dante Pettis. He should be, I'm telling you, Dante Pettis, if he's not starting at least 50% of reps this week, I'm going to be pissed.
I want to see him returning kicks. That's supposed to be what he's known for. And Deion Lewis fumbles every other game. I didn't understand that he wasn't returning kicks this week.
Agreed. And so this is Murderer's Row, Chris. This is where Matt Parrott just, he looks like he got put through the washer, man.
Look at how they massacred my boy.
I think this game showed you, and I'm rooting for Parrott. I still think he'd be really good, but I think this game showed you why. All the fans that are saying at the beginning of the year, "Oh, Matt Parrott's got to be the left tackle. Why isn't Matt Parrott playing?" Well, I think you got to see it in this game as to why Matt Parrott hasn't been playing every game.
Well, I'll say 2 things to that. I know both of you should remember me saying, like, way long ago, I almost don't even want to see Matt Parrott on the field this season, just because I don't want to stunt his growth, and I'm fine with him just waiting all year and then starting the following year. But everybody wants to push him on the field. So then I bought into the hype. I'm like, yeah, he's played well. I want to see him more. But another thing I want to point out with this is Matt Parrott had COVID a few weeks ago, and then last week he missed the entire game with an ailment. So I think the ailment might be the fact that he just doesn't have the stamina or something. Maybe his body is just not recovering well from the COVID-19. That's possible, and maybe that's why he played so poorly this week and why he missed last week. That's my only real thing that I can think of here, because it's been a pretty tough stretch for him, but you do have to remember he had COVID. He was dealing with it.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point. This is I wanted to show these clips here because The big thing with DJ is we don't trust him with the football in his hands because he fumbles a lot. He gets sacked 3 consecutive times here, and you're going to see on the second one specifically, he tucks this ball really nicely. And, he protects the football. He keeps 2 hands on the ball at all times, and he shows that growth there. And he gets sacked very quickly. He has to hold on to this ball, and you're going to see that because it's really imperative to know that at the very least, DJ is growing in that category. And what we saw last year, I tweeted out today, this season, his best game of the year came in week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had 279 yards, right, and 2 touchdowns and like a 63% completion percentage. That was his best passing day. That was his best passing.
I got a question for you. For you. Who was the running back in that game?
Saquon, and he draws. And
Saquon has not been in any other game throughout the entirety of the game. It was the most yards he threw for all year against the league's best defense, in which they had no running game whatsoever. But it just shows you the impact that Saquon Barkley has in the passing game. Just the fact that he's a threat, and the defense has to game plan for him, and that's somebody that we all hope will be back next year at full capacity.
Yep, him and a wide receiver 1 would do as well, and I'll say, I wanted to follow that up with the best game he's had last year was in Week 16 against Washington, where he had like 348 passing yards and 5 touchdowns with Saquon on the field. So that tells you, he draws a lot of attention. He takes linebackers out of coverage. So you can't play cover 1 all the time because you have to have guys watching. You have to have guys watching Saquon. You can't stack the box all the time. You have to be dropping back into coverage because otherwise, you're going to get beat by Saquon doing something. So you really just can't. Right now, we're seeing them man up across the board because they're not afraid of the passing game. They're just playing the run. But when you have Saquon who can actually run routes, that is what I want. If we're going to move out from Jason Garrett or if we're going to stay from him, whoever's the offensive coordinator next year needs to utilize Saquon Barkley like the Saints use Alvin Kamara in the passing game. Do unique things, creative things, get him open, and just use him as your best player. He is one of the most dynamic guys in the NFL when it comes to everything that a running back can possibly do. And he's just been misused in the past. I think his rookie season was a really, really good indication of what he can do. And that was with a bottom of the barrel offensive line. I think next year it'll be better. And if you give him some decent blocking, we're going to see a player who can really just polarize the NFL. He's going to be just elite level.
Well, that's the one thing I'll say is why I could understand it either way, whether or not they move on from Garrett or not. If they decide to stick with him, I could understand it because he could say, well, we never really had a full offense. We didn't have Saquon Barkley. It's completely vanilla, and it may change the entire complexion of this offense next year. So we'll see what they decide to do there. But regardless, I think we're all in agreement that having Saquon Barkley would completely change this entire offense going into next year.
Yeah, and another point I want to bring up is when Alex mentioned the game against Washington when he had 5 touchdowns and he was going off. You also have to remember that Saquon Barkley ran for 150 yards that day. He was moving the ball, and the defense was necessary for them to key in on Saquon Barkley, and it opened up the passing game. So yeah, having a dominant running back in the backfield can definitely open things up for the quarterback and the entire passing game. Yeah.
Exactly. And, I want to, still stay on topic with Dan Jones a little bit. I want to just show this angle on each sack to show you, him tucking the ball and protecting it right here. He's looking like he's going to throw, he tucks it, but he puts both hands on the ball, right? That's what you want to see. He tucks this ball and he puts both hands on it just to protect it. That's what you want to see from your guy. He feels that pressure coming in. That is really, really, that is progress. That is progress if you ever wanted to see it.
And, you look at Daniel Jones, he's been sacked the 3rd most times. Well, they've given up the 3rd most sacks. Obviously, McCoy's, been the quarterback for some of those times this year. But the guy's he's lost a fumble 1 time since week 5. And you think about all the times he's been sacked, and it's because of little things like that. The Giants coaching him up, teaching him how to hold on to the football. Little things like that you don't get credit for because when you're watching the game, you're crying as a fan that they gave up another sack. Looking to pin it on Jones if you hate the quarterback. But that is actually a great job by Jones to sense that pressure, feel that pressure, and to tuck it in like that. That is growth. That he probably fumbles that ball last year.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he definitely.
I remember against the Arizona Cardinals, there's a play exactly like this where he does fumble the ball, and this is good progress, and this is something with. When you think about recent quarterbacks that came out, Josh Allen's the one that I think about, right? You can see a year 3 breakout being in the cards for Daniel Jones. You can see something like what, maybe not to the level that Josh Allen had it because he's an MVP candidate, right? But you can see a year 3 breakout for Daniel Jones. Josh Allen needed that wide receiver one desperately. They got it with Stephon Diggs. If the Giants are able to get one this year, maybe you see Daniel Jones have that breakout. And since he's growing in areas like this and not turning the ball over as much and protecting the football better and making throws like the one we saw to Pettis, maybe you really could see that year 3 breakout with Daniel Jones.
Absolutely. And this is pretty much, Anthony, I want to actually give you the chance to show this is a blown play by Nick Gates, because he's supposed to call out the coverage here, or really the blitzing scheme. So I want to just give you the chance to break that down before we wrap up the film session.
Right, yeah, we talked about this before we started recording. If you see here, Nick Gates, you can see him clearly pointing to the left side. Like, you could see that right there where it's paused. You can see he's pointing to the left side, and he's trying to call out the blitz, and he's telling the offensive line right now, shift left, because the blitz is coming from the left side. So shift that way and pick up those guys. But the blitz comes from the right side, so Nick Gates completely misreads this, and 2 guys come free off the edge on the right side.
I'm going to be honest and fair to Gates here, and I'm not a film guy, but just looking at this, if I was Gates, I would think the same. I would think the same thing. You got 4 guys.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, this is great deception by the Ravens, because if I'm the center, I'm thinking the same thing. I got 4 guys on the right side. I got 2 on the left. That's where I see the blitz coming from. And the Ravens, look at this. Look, I don't even remember the play before you showed it to me. But they run a beautiful stunt here, and they bring them to the left side. They completely fool the Giants.
Yeah, and you see, I think that's 39 just completely bails and drops back into coverage, but it looked like he was the blitzer. Right, so I agree. Like, we give Patrick Graham a ton of credit every week because he schemes together some sacks or some turnovers, and we say he does an excellent job. Well, on the other side, this is Wink Martindale, a guy who interviewed for the Giants head coaching position. So he does this stuff too. He schemes together sacks, and this is one where I think he schemed together a great play defensively. This was a blitz that nobody on the Giants offensive line saw coming, and it was just a great play design by Wink Martindale. It's good defense.
And Matt Parrott just looks like a lost puppy dog.
It's okay, Matt. You'll get it.
We still love you, Matt. We still love you.
We still love you, but we want you to be the best. That's the reality. Yeah. But this one, man, you're gonna forget about this tomorrow. Yeah. Oof.
No, he didn't have a chance, and it was like that the entire game. And I was trying to say, everybody ragged on the offensive line after the game, and there were definitely instances in the game. You mentioned Lemieux. There was at least 2 plays where he just got completely destroyed. And Parrott, two plays or so got destroyed. But overall, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that our receivers just don't create separation, and Baltimore knew it. And a play like this, they sent 2 guys off the from the secondary on the outside. They knew that they were going to be able to demand them up one-on-one, and they didn't need extra coverage because they don't believe in the New York Giants wide receivers.
That's spot on. But this has been really fun, Chris. I really appreciate coming on and really doing this with us and breaking down the film and looking at DJ specifically and seeing his progressions. What has he been doing good? What has he been doing bad? The little minute things that he might need to work on in the future. There's still a lot left to do for DJ, but we've seen he can make the throws. He's getting better with his pocket awareness and protecting the football. He's doing a lot of things better. It's just a matter of getting him some playmakers. Get him a wide receiver 1. Let this offensive line gel. Don't get rid of Kevin Zeitler, because if you do, you're going to see this offensive line take a step back. I promise you. He is a guy that you cannot afford to lose right now, because we have nobody to supplement him with. Shane Lemieux does not look good in pass protection. I don't trust him moving forward in that specific thing. But his cap hit is attractive when it comes to cutting him and opening up some space to sign other people. But I just don't think you can afford to do it at this time, because he's the one veteran guy that really holds down the fort. But we'll see what happens there. But of course, this was awesome. DJ looks good. He looked a lot better in this game than he did against the Browns. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you bring up Zeitler. That's going to be a major storyline going into the offseason. I'm kind of with you. I was kind of about a month ago. I was kind of on because the cap's going down, we could use the flexibility. But the way that Lemieux has looked in pass protection, run blocking, he's fine. But the way he's looked in pass protection and the fact that the Giants clearly don't have much faith at all in Will Hernandez, it leads me to believe that they're going to be bringing back Zeitler. And at this point, with as bad as the offensive line's looked, I think it's the right decision. Of course, getting Barkley back in a wide receiver will help the offensive line because they're not as predictable on offense. But I'm kind of with you on that with Zeitler. But, yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on, man. Love what you guys do. I should have said at the top of the video, but I'll put it in my pinned comment. If you guys haven't done so, please go over to Fireside Giants. Check both these gentlemen out. They do a great job over there. We'll be doing the film breakdown next week or whenever we get another opportunity to do it over there. So be sure to check out their channel. I want to say thank you to both Anthony and Alex for coming on the channel. And, yeah, thanks for watching. Actually, I got to do my outro. As always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.